All right, we're live.
We're live.
Yay, we're live. All right. Hey everyone, this is Baruch Develop Your Mindset podcast, and this is Louise. We're back every Saturday. We do this because we love doing it. This is the number 82 Develop Your Mindset podcast, and we are at some insane junction with everyone feeling very stressed, very unease. Some people are excited, so there's a lot happening. This is the weekend of the new president in U.S. that came in to office, and I've been hearing a lot of things. Everyone's some people are excited, some people are worried, some people are upset, and there's a lot happening all around us. So today I wrote the questions of the podcast in that sense, and we're going to be talking about those kind of things that we all go through in a smaller scale and the bigger scale version of this, and they all matter. So we're going to try to talk about it a little bit and try to understand and handle this kind of situation. How to handle it is very important, and we're going to be talking about a little bit of other stuff, but this is pretty much going to be the topic. And I'm almost ready to start. You can say hi.
I'm gonna say hi, man. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Develop Your Mindset. As always, we've always got an interesting topic for every single week. This week happened to be, like you said, we have our new president and stuff like that, and so that was one of the topics that erupted throughout the week. Of course, there's more to it than just that, but that was probably the main one. And so we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be talking about things that are correlated with that. So I hope you can stay throughout the entire episode and watch the entire thing, because we will be covering a multiple range of topics, and we always share our insight here, so that way you're able to make a difference in your own life and be able to apply certain things that we talk about here, give you a new perspective that can potentially, put you in the right direction. So without further ado, we can go ahead and get started, man.
Awesome. Yeah, as usually, normally we talk about the company, what happens here, because we're a jewelry company, and we go through a lot of 5-6 days, a lot of the stuff, but this one is definitely something unique and different, special this week. This happens every 4 years. So without further ado, let's start. Number 82. The first one goes harsh living environment and tough be determined like water. So it's been really tough and harsh. Definitely this environment has been good for some people, toxic for others, and really devastating for some people. Especially with this COVID situation, it's been wild. It's been almost a year now. We've been the first time we got into lockdown and everything. So it hasn't been so easy for a lot of people. A lot of people have been going through a lot, and people were hoping that the country will go in a certain way or that way, this way. It didn't happen for them. Some people happened exactly what they wanted. This is all like emotionally, people are going through a lot of roller coaster, a lot of tough situation. But here I say in the end, be like water, meaning like water, it doesn't know tough situation. It always finds a way to go downhill. If it's a big rock, if it's a big mountain, it carves through the mountain or goes around the mountain, finds a way to keep on flowing downstream. And here, I've been talking to a lot of people. Everyone's a little bit, confused. Maybe that's a good word. But there's nothing to be confused. If it doesn't work out the way you want it to be work to come out, the results, then you're gonna be like a water. You're gonna find new way to keep on moving forward, to keep on going along down the line, so you can coincide, coexist, and just be. So for me, I've been hearing a lot of things this whole week, and I've been saying to people that I don't care, I don't mind. I'm worried about my well-being, my company, my people, and my family, and I can't change much as of now, as of this moment. I just have to worry about what's important, what's dear to me, and pretty much that's what I'm doing. Not that to say, here and there, I my mind is all wandering off, but I just don't allow it to go further. When it happens, I just stop myself, bring it back to what's important, what's necessary, and if this is happening to you guys, you have to ask yourself what's important, and you have to be like a water. Just find a way to keep on floating.
Yeah, yeah. So currently, right now, we find ourselves in there's a lot of things going on, and so it can be a little tough, to stay really on course and stay positive and continue to do the things that you have to do in order to produce results, in order to reach your goals, and increase the amount of potential that you're hitting at the same time. And so like you said, it's important that you focus on what's important, what really matters to you, you know um, because usually we tend to focus on like things that we want to avoid sometimes. And so when you're just trying to avoid things, well, you end up for the most part just trying to pursue the comfort zone. You try to pursue safety, and you usually try to stay within certain guidelines, in order to not step out into a certain area where you can potentially fail, or you can things can go wrong. And so because you're in avoidance mode, so always focus on what's important, always focus on your goals, on your purpose, whatever your purpose is, and take the necessary action that's required in order for you to attain that purpose. And sometimes attaining that purpose means stepping out of your comfort zone, and really doing things that may be a little bit risky, things that don't feel necessarily very normal. You may have to do things that are outside of what the people around you are telling you. Maybe they're telling you that you should do this instead, but your heart is telling you that perhaps you should do that one thing, even though everybody's saying that that's wrong, that's not good. You're gonna have to go and do whatever your heart is telling you, and so that can be hard. But like you said, you got to be really determined. You got to really commit to whatever it is that you're going after, and go after it. Be determined, and like you said, like water, water always finds a way to get through. And so that's really how you have to be. Some adversity comes up in your journey, you have to find a way to really maneuver your way around that. Whether you have to step out of the guidelines, you have to do something a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, it's the purpose that matters, not really not necessarily having to do it a certain way, but finding a way to really get it done.
Awesome. Yeah, that was good, really good to perspective for you guys. Now the second one is as important as the first one. The second one goes: remember and remind yourself not to follow destructive pendulums. Lots happening outside your reach. So sometimes things happen you can change, you can't do anything about it. Also, a lot of pendulums are happening. A lot of it is these days I've been hearing that very destructive, which is like emotionally and mentally it's very destructive. Doesn't it doesn't help you to be a better version of you, or a better person, or um, to like advance yourself in any way, because everyone's trying to sell their own idea, and they're being very loud about it. And if you buy that idea, it's very destructive for you. It's all, don't fall into those kind of pendulums. It's very it's a I mean, it's a very, very big pendulums out there. It's very large and very unease, so you got to be careful with all that. Remember and remind yourself, like you have to remember what is important, what's necessary for you to do to survive and to thrive and to become better. And then you have to remind yourself all the time, if you don't remember. And whatever ways you can, that you gotta use those kind of methods. And you just have to be like really do your own best self, and that's where you can really do the best for you at the time being, until you find something better. I mean, I mean, if you're not handling certain things like such a news, or someone's talking about something that you're getting wrapped up into it, and you are having hard time sleeping or hard time thinking, or whatever, it's maybe causing you loss of time or stuff like that. You have to realize that's what's happening, and then you have to kind of knock it off and stop doing that, and then just refocus on what's important, what's necessary to do it today, and what's going to happen tomorrow. Sometimes you want to know what's going to happen tomorrow and not worry about tomorrow, because today, right now, is the time that we are living. This is the moment that I'm breathing, I'm living. This is important. And tomorrow, if that thing that you're imagining, if it doesn't happen, what happened? Like you've lost a lot of time or something. That sometimes you have to just let it be. And when you get there, if it does change the way you were thinking, then okay, maybe you're ready mentally, at least. But if it doesn't, then don't worry about it. Just be like water, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, destructive pendulums. We spoke a little bit about those in the previous podcast. So, if you want to know more about pendulums and stuff like that, you can watch our previous podcast. But just to briefly touch on that, destructive pendulums are pretty much those areas where there's some sort of like a hub, like a group of people that really share the similar ideas, and so they form like this entity that you can call a pendulum, really. And so the thing about those is that they're always trying to gather new members, new people to join those pendulums. That way that pendulum can grow and grow. And so obviously it produces some sort of result, whether it's a company, the bigger that pendulum gets, the more money that company will produce, or the influence it has over people will grow as well, because it's growing, it has more it can create a bigger impact. And so the thing you really have to keep in mind about this is that you're pursuing the pendulums that really connect with who you are as a person, really at your core. So you as a person should have your values, your standards, and the things that you believe in, and so those should match whatever pendulum it is that you choose to pursue, because that's really the pendulum that's going to be beneficial for you and the pendulum itself. You will help that pendulum grow. And well, if it's for you, then that's good, because you're actually contributing to a specific pendulum that aligns with your cause. So you're helping it grow, and at the same time, you can learn a lot from that pendulum as well. You can take value and really actualize yourself. And so I think it's important that you are aware of where you're putting your energy, where you're putting your focus, and that you're not really wasting your time pursuing a pendulum that's not really beneficial to you. And as opposed to that, it's actually sucking your energy, and it's making you do things that are really outside of your character, outside of who you are, and outside of the potential of you being your best self. It's really, destroying that and making it much harder, for you to reach that potential. So that's pretty much it. I mean,
I just want, that was really good. Last week we did have one that we spoke about pendulums, but we're definitely gonna dive in really, really deep. We're gonna talk about pendulums, because I feel like the life is filled with full of pendulums, small, large, medium, all kinds of shapes, right? And your brain loves to be part of something, and I mean that's the thing, like especially like the winning side, and then you get happy, excited, like, and a lot of these pendulums don't have anything for you reserved in that. Like for instance, you follow a this presidential race or a group or basketball team like Lakers or something, and then you get all excited, and then all this like people, thousands and thousands of people are getting excited, hundreds of thousands, million people. End of the day, where everyone goes home feeling empty because you didn't win anything, like
Yeah.
you didn't gain anything from it. You just gain a little bit of excitement, and then so you got to choose your battle. You got to choose your pendulums. Like, what are you really paying attention to? We're gonna do it. I hope maybe next week, right? I think we should do it. We're gonna do really deep analysis of this and then come and talk about it. So let's move on to the next, which is stick to your profession, meaning do not worry, he said, she said. I said this because we all have profession. We all have something. Either we're master or we're becoming a master, or we are working hard to becoming a master in what we're doing. Now you have to not worry about he said, she said, what happened, who gave what to whom, and whatever is happening all around you. You have to still stay focused on what you're doing. I know people staying home these days. I know people are upset and mad. They're in front of the news and watching news 24/7. I know people that they are just they can't handle it, and they're having hard time letting go the loss. In reality, it wasn't their loss. It was they had nothing into it. They were just like wrapped around this big giant pendulum, and then once the pendulum dissipate and died, it's no more there. Everyone feels this void, this emptiness, this self loss, and they're having hard time to finding themselves back, picking themselves back up. Sometimes this causes people to go into depression, and because it's so easy to find yourself feeling depressed about something and blaming and getting really angry about it, and just like I mean, I found myself kind of like in that kind of place a long time ago, and it took me a while to get out of it. And I feel like this is something that it could cause this kind of situation. So I want to talk about it. I want to tell you guys that don't worry about he said, she said, who said what, who's making the money, who's losing the money. If you have nothing into it, you were just following this pendulum and then dissipated, you need to move on immediately, right away, so you can focus on your life and then becoming the better version of you at whatever you are at this moment and what is important. So every time something is important, today something different is important. You just have to be that person and follow your heart, and part of that is your profession. Whatever your profession is, find something that you can do better in it, and then focus on that. Become better version of it.
Yeah, so sticking to your profession, of course. I think this is extremely important because there's this. Let me see how where do I start? Because here's the thing. I mean, this is a good example of you pursuing a really destructive pendulum. This is exactly what it can cause. Like, it can cause you to really abandon your profession and start focusing on stuff like, the stuff that maybe he said or that she said. This could be someone you idolize, someone you really like, and so you're always paying attention to what everybody's saying, or maybe you have a passion for a specific industry, but you have nothing to do with that industry. You just like certain things that are happening in that industry, and so you're always like paying attention to what people are saying there. But in reality, you're not taking any value from it. It's not really helping you in any shape or form to really, improve yourself or your life in any way. And so that pendulum in of itself is just sucking your energy. It's just taking your time, and it's really getting you invested into it so that you become one of the just one more of the members that are part of that pendulum. And so this pendulum really doesn't really care about you. You can go whenever you want, and somebody else will come in and just replace you, and it doesn't really matter. And so that's why this is a very destructive pendulum here. But it's important that you really stick to your profession, because if you are always focused on somebody else, that really just puts you in a position where you don't necessarily value what you do, what you say. Instead you value more the things that are happening outside of you. And so that should never really be the case. You should always be focused on yourself first, and you should prioritize yourself in any way, shape, or form. Whatever means a lot to you, that's what you should come first. And so I understand there's some pendulums that really try to convince you that it's better to focus on a specific cause, and because that's better, you're contributing, and that you're doing this and that, and you're that, it's good, like they come up with a lot of persuasive tactics in order to draw you in, to make you think that it's a better idea to invest in their pendulum instead of investing in your own self. And so you really have to be aware of this, especially if you're not really aware of like persuasion and the tactics that are being used in order to do that, because they can draw you in really easily. So that's why it's good that you watch podcasts like these, and that you study all the time, so that you you understand and that you're aware of what's going on. That way you don't get drawn in so easily, and you're able to resist every time one of these tactics are trying to be implemented onto you. You have some sort of a defense mechanism that can prevent you from investing yourself so easily into that pendulum, and you have something to really stand your ground and really focus more on yourself, focus on your own purpose instead of focusing on the purpose of somebody else and stuff like that. So yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. Next is very important as well. Watch and observe. Be always ready to change. Do what is important, and do not let others rob your time. Guys, we talk about time always. We talk about we're not going to live 300 years old. You have certain amount of life, certain amount of years. If you can go all the way through, most likely it's 89 years. Most likely you have 40 to 50 years of good working years that you can accumulate whatever you're going to accumulate. Some people have, like me, now I have a desire to accumulate generational wealth, and that's going to take a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of determination. If you do, then you have only a certain amount of time. So don't let others rob you from your time, meaning don't get into their vortexes. Don't get into their pendulums. Don't buy into what they're selling to you, to us. You have to value your time, and don't let that go for waste like that. You gotta stay guard of your time, of your mind, of your heart, everything. So you again, don't you gotta value your time, and you gotta not let go your what's important. You gotta pay attention to it, be ready always, and you got to find what's important. There's a lot of important things that people forget about, such as like people work really, really hard for many, many years to start something, to create something, to be part of something. And then just because some things are going really not your way, and you are rooting for this part or that part, and your team is not winning or you lost, and then you lose hope. And so all those years of work that you invested your time and effort into building or creating something or being part of something goes to waste. So just because you got into wrapped into this pendulum, and then it didn't work out in your uh, how do you say it, like your way or
Yeah,
your profit,
your favor.
your favor. um, don't don't let those years go for waste, because again, don't let people rob you of your time, because we have finite of time, we have little bit of time, we got to make it work, we got to make it worth it. And don't let all those years that you can bring back, that you invested in it, into building whatever you're building, don't let your emotions take over and lose interest of what you were doing. You got to stop yourself. You got to find yourself. Go continue fixing yourself, and working towards making whatever you're making, working towards making it successful. Pretty much, that's it. I just like end of the last word is like, don't let others rob your time. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so watch and observe and always be ready to change. Of course, I mean it's a good idea that you're always aware, you're always watching and observing. You're not only what's happening around you, but also your actions and where you're putting your attention all the time, because you never know. I mean, you may be shifting, you may be going in a whole different direction, you may not even be noticing. uh a lot of people talk about, like, they're pursuing something, they're pursuing a purpose, and they find themselves that they don't have enough time to work on things, or they don't have enough energy. And so, but they're not realizing where they're putting that time and energy, like where is it going? Because eventually, I mean, it's going somewhere, but a lot of people don't even, like, they're not conscious of what they're doing, they're just running on autopilot or something like that. And so you always have to be observant as far as like what your actions are, and where you're putting your energy, your time, and you devoting your resources. Because if you're aware of that, then that's where you can notice where all of this is going. And that's really the way for you to create change in your life, because once you're aware, once you know what you're doing, you can start modifying things in your own schedule and your own time. And that can really be very beneficial as far as like you achieving your purpose, because now you can stop doing things that are not really contributing to that, and you can start creating new habits and start implementing new action that can actually get you closer to your purpose. And of course, always doing what's important, taking the right action, and focusing on what's important as well, as far as like, you're educating yourself and you're trying to build more awareness around what you're doing as well. Because it's good that you also devote time to studying and doing research. If you're let's just say you're a business person, you have a company, you have a business. And so it's a good idea that you're informed as to what's going on in your market, in your industry, how things are functioning there. So you always got to be aware of that. Or maybe you're working for a company. In that case, it's still important that you learn your position within that company, and you try to do the best job that you can as far as that goes. And so that's where you have to be studying in order to become the best at that specific position. And so, last thing here, to not let others rob of your time. I think we spoke about this previously, that there's always going to be other people and other companies and brands and stuff like that are trying to pull you in order to make themselves grow. And so this is really a battle of growth here. You really have to be aware of this, and say and really tell yourself, whose growth am I more concerned about? Am I concerned more about my own personal growth, or am I concerned more about their growth? So really think about that. And yeah.
Awesome. The last question. This is Develop Your Mindset podcast, and we're gonna close with that. And I'm reading. I don't know what happened here. I don't know what I wrote here, but I do remember that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, self
I was the autocorrect, man.
shifting.
Maybe.
Fuck, man. Okay, yeah. Develop your mindset on self shifting. Um, uh, your mind, your brain is always shifting left and right. You can't control it, right? It has its own fucking thing doing. You go to sleep, you wake up middle of the night, it's doing its own thing. It's still thinking, it's still building some scenarios, and most of it it's all bullshit. Most of it it's all not true. It's part of it, it's your anger, building your own mind, making all this, I'm gonna go tomorrow and tell him like this and say that, and then you think about it, you're like, if I do it, fuck, I have too much to lose. Or like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna tell my wife not to say this, do that, don't buy this, don't buy that. In reality, if you don't fucking buy, your life is miserable, and that you must do that. The problem is not you can't afford. The problem is you're not making enough money. You got to focus on making more money, so you can fix your life, or you can fix your car, or you can fix your window that is broken, or whatever. So you gotta like shift your mindset, and you gotta fix yourself, and then work hard, and like develop more skill set, more like make more money, or develop more skill to be able to talk to more people, different kind of people, and then have easy time talking to other people. That whatever you have to do, you got to develop your mindset on that particular thing. We need to get really, really advance ourselves into a lot of different points, and naturally we weren't born having all that. You develop those, and then sometimes you develop not enough, and then you settle with that, and then you find out then when you get into more things that you're doing, like whatever else you're doing, and then maybe you're going to find yourself that you are short in that kind of skill set, and you got to develop it a little bit further more. So this is always something that it's ongoing. It's never going to end until the rest of our life, and we need to be the better version of ourselves all the time. Develop our mindset nonstop, always. You just have to find what you're not good at, and then invest time in it. But remember, you don't have forever to invest, so you gotta be able to do certain amount of time, get the most out of it, and then continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah. So develop your mindset on self-shifting. That's what we're doing, right?
Uh-huh.
Let's just start from the beginning here. I mean, if you're watching this podcast, really you have to get comfortable with the idea that your mind will continuously be shifting. It's always going to continuously be changing. And of course, that's why we have this podcast here. That's really to help you shift your mind and always have it in this mode where it's constantly changing. It's constantly open to new ideas. And so that's very important, because ultimately you want to reach your most truest self, and of course your best self. In order to do that, well, you have to go through certain mindsets, and you have to really experiment with a lot of them and see which one really is the one that's going to help you become your best self, because you have a purpose, you have some sort of a belief system, you have your own values, your own standards. And so content like this is really there to help you become aware of what the possibilities are, and to give you a new perspective. That way you can use your own mind to spark your own personal ideas that can really propel you and put you in the right direction, where you'll start doing things with more authenticity, more congruency. And so that eventually will lead to something really good for yourself, really, because at the end of the day, you want to find a purpose, you want to find something that really makes you happy, and at the same time it can make an impact for other people, and by way of you providing some sort of value to a certain group of people. And so that's awesome. That's really, our goal here. That's what we're trying to do with the podcast itself. And that's really what we do here as a company. We're always trying to provide value in any way possible, and so yeah, I mean that's really it. And so yeah, develop your mindset on really shifting, constantly shifting your mind.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think we're pretty much done this week. I'm glad we cut it a little bit short. I hope this was interesting for you guys and not long, that we didn't board you with extra information that not required from today's podcast. And I hope you guys are doing okay. Well, this week it's been really not easy on a lot of people, and it's got, nothing stays the same. Life is always shifts. It never stays the same. Your mind shifts, your time, the time shifts, and everything shifts. That's why there are eras, and people change the color of their what they wear, and the design where it changes, jewelry changes, and it never stays the same. It's always different. So if you're not too happy of what is happening now, it's not going to stay like this. So yeah, you got to fight yourself. You got to do you, and do the best version of you. So with that, I'm definitely doing that. So this is what today's podcast was. And yeah, I mean, and don't forget to do the likes, and if you guys have anything to say, please leave comment down below. We'll read, and that would mean a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, so even though we kept it short and we kept it simple and sweet, I believe we still covered a lot of information that can be very helpful for you guys. So, watch this podcast, very large attention span, watch it more than once. So you can, or just go and repeat, the specific parts that you find most interesting and most helpful for you. Either way, we appreciate you watching our content. We don't have that many viewers and that many subscribers, but we do appreciate the few that are actually there for us and are, supporting us along the way, and are watching our podcast, every time we release an episode. And so thank you very much. We would appreciate it if you can share that with your friends, with your family, or anybody that you think that can benefit from the information that we share on the podcast. As you know, we have different perspectives here, and so it's very helpful that we have that, that we can provide you with different perspectives that can be potentially very helpful for you. So yeah, I mean, other than that, it was great to be part of another episode. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be links down below as far as like checking out our books and our audiobooks. There's going to be download links down below for those. Of course, there's links to our social media, so you guys can follow us there. And yeah, I mean, other than that, thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.